behavior.
Amisha Cooper Chester is in there as well.
Yeah.
David is in.
No, I don't see David in there.
He's in the main room now.
He's here. Let me make him a co-host.
Oh,
Hi,
there he is.
David.
Hey, yo. You don't have to make me a co-host. It's okay. Or do you have to?
I don't have to.
Okay.
Do
Unless
you
you want
want
me
me?
to do something.
All right, I'm revoking your permission. It just means you won't be able to talk.
Okay. That okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
going to keep you as a co-host.
You
Sounds
okay
good.
with that?
Yeah, that's fine. You guys go sled today?
I see Clayton Jones has hit the chat, has hit the waiting room.
Sharon Davis is in.
Sharon Davis isn't one of our candidates that we're on the lookout for. We've got,
Oh, I thought there was a.
I don't think so. Okay, let me make sure. Rashad, I'm going to be updating the document as you're referring to it. So I apologize, but
Josiah, in my relationship with you thus far, I was not prepared for anything less.
okay. Well, hopefully I don't mess anything up. All right.
I see a Zane Reap. Should I let him in?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Also making him a co-host.
Yeah.
All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pin Rashad, you and Josiah at first. And when we let everyone in, and you guys can kick it off. Um, and then as we go, I'll pin people to who are kind of in the group that is speaking, if that makes sense.
So you're going to text us when it's time to admit?
I mean, I'll just admit everyone.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I've got the admit button. Meyer Griffin's here.
That sounds like a plan to me.
Uh,
I don't see Beverly Alice Macklin yet.
so we are starting with Clerk of Superior Court, right?
Yes.
Great. Has anyone got a number for Ms. Ellis Macklin?
Yeah, actually I do now, I think. Let
All
me.
right, text her. Starting to fill up. 85 folks. Heads up, Jackie Wagstaff's here.
Yep. Saw that she submitted a question.
Yeah, you saw I responded, right?
I did not, but
Oh, what was it?
It was asking one of the candidates about previous Republican votes. It's
Oh,
it's out of scope of this. The Young Dems have been creating cut questions.
so do we admit her
We
or
are
not?
not, we are not, Aiden, don't worry about it.
Okay. I
and
just,
also I think that we should kick out any note takers.
Any note takers?
Yeah,
sorry,
they're
just
Oh, yeah.
trying to
Yeah,
do
AI
my
note
part.
takers.
Yep. Kicking them out.
Yes.
I don't see any more. I just kicked two. Oh, there's
Jackie
another
Wagstaff is
one.
still in there.
No,
It's
we plan on
fine.
keeping her. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't worry about that. I was just giving you guys a heads up.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I just need a little clarity.
That's fine. That's cool.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any reason to choose not to admit somebody unless they are a um a note-taking bot.
Yeah, no bots.
Exactly. No bots.
Josiah,
Also,
can you hear me?
yes.
Sorry, I'm late. What do you need me to do? Are we still recording people as they come in on the spreadsheet? Like, I guess for the candidates or no? I
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
You and um Katana can work on that.
Are
Um
you guys ready to start this? You don't wait till you hear from Beverly Ellis Macklin.
um
Oh, the only people we have both candidates for right now is the Superior Court District
yeah.
at 6:30.
Me getting a heart rate warning. That's um I say let's give it like one more minute.
Sounds fine.
Are we waiting on I guess the U.S. House candidates?
Yeah,
No, we're waiting on a candidate for clerk, which is our first race.
Gotcha. Oh,
Uh,
Beverly Ellis. I see it.
yeah. Um, but I mean, honestly, hopefully she can join.
She gave it you got a
I sent her a text. I could give her a call.
yeah, give her a call.
Okay.
So hi Jake, nice to meet you. Hi Rashad, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
Hey,
nice to
nice to
meet you.
meet you too. Am I
Good to
coming
see
through
you.
okay?
Yes, sir. Yeah, good to
Coming
see
through great.
everyone. Good to see everyone. I'll just be the quiet church mouse in the background.
Yeah, sounds good.
I just can't believe this lady is not on time. But it looks like he's talking to somebody, so
Yeah.
it looks like hopefully she's just having some confusions.
Rashad, I like the background. Just want to state that.
Yeah, it's cool. I agree.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
One 36 and counting. 5 and 34. Okay.
Shamika Reinhart, I just see her name.
I don't think she's a candidate. Is she a candidate for something?
Not right now, no.
Oh, okay.
Aiden, I'm gonna have you go off camera and
Oh,
mute.
did I do something?
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm gonna have you go off camera unless you got a speaking role at the beginning. Josiah, we good?
Yeah, it looks like it was just a Zoom join t trouble.
Great.
Is that right?
Yes, I just sent you.
All right. Just flagging we're 5 minutes over. So
Yeah, I think we should let everyone in and start our intros. What, are you guys good with that?
I'm good with it.
Sure.
Josiah, I'm gonna admit everyone.
Okay. She's in the waiting room now.
Oh, I see her. Everyone's coming in.
All right. We're filling up the meeting. And let's jump right in. Good evening, everyone. I hope that wherever you're joining us from, you're staying safe, warm, and healthy in the aftermath of the weather these last 2 weeks. My name is Josiah Gowker, and I'm the president of the Young Democrats of Durham County. It's my honor to be able to welcome you all to tonight's Democracy in Action virtual forum, hosted in partnership with the Durham County Democratic Party and the Durham Democratic Women. We'd love for folks to stay involved with the work we're doing in Durham and hope to be able to share more about it during and after this forum, excuse me. I want to thank you all for joining us in this virtual format, as well as extend an invitation to our upcoming in-person forum on Tuesday at Lyon Park at 5:30, Lyon Park Community Center, that is, which will feature the candidates for NC Senate District 22, Durham County Sheriff, and Durham County District Attorney. A lot of work went into making this happen, both of these events, and I would like to thank the volunteers in the Durham Young Dems and with our partners for what they've contributed to what we hope will be an informative opportunity for the people of Durham County and surrounding areas to learn about the candidates running to represent us. Local politics matters. When we're seeing federal agents abduct our neighbors, experiencing an ever increasing cost of living, battling for the survival of our families, our values, our norms, it's the folks right here at home who support us, lift us up, and who fight with and for us. I want to extend my gratitude to the candidates for not just showing up to our forum, but for being willing to run to represent the people of our community. At tonight's event, we'll be hearing from candidates from 5 different races. First will be the candidates for Clerk of Superior Court, whose role consists of administration of the district and superior courts, as well as facilitating residents' interaction with the courts and adjudicating cases related to estates, adoptions, foreclosures, and more. After that will be our candidates for District Court Judge, those who hear cases involving misdemeanors and infractions, juvenile cases, some civil cases, and more. Following these candidates, we will have a brief 5-minute intermission during which the candidates for North Carolina Court of Appeals, Judge Seat 3, will each receive 1 minute to introduce themselves. After the intermission, our forum will recommence with the candidates for Superior Court Judge, those who hear all felony criminal cases, criminal appeals from district court, and civil cases involving more than $25,000. Lastly, we will hear from the candidates for North Carolina's 4th Congressional District, our representative to the United States Congress. To moderate the forum, I'd like to welcome Rashad Sullivan. Rashad is a proud graduate of North Carolina Central University. With nearly 2 decades of experience in financial services, he brings a wealth of knowledge to his work. Rashad has been dedicated to helping his clients and community achieve their financial goals and build a secure future. He holds life memberships with the Durham NCCU Alumni Association and Omega Psi Phi fraternity. He is also the host of a new podcast, Whiskey, Sticks, and Politics on YouTube. To introduce the format of our forum, and to get things started, here's Rashad.
Thank you so much for that, Josiah. And I really appreciate the opportunity to partner with you all here tonight as well. Of course, want to give thanks to all of our candidates here tonight, willing to share their thoughts with the people of Durham. And then also, most importantly, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people of Durham. We appreciate you all for attending tonight as well. So just briefly, I'll go over the format and then we'll get into it, okay? So candidates are going to have 3 minutes to make an opening statement with the guidance proposed by myself. Now, after opening statements, I'm going to ask a few questions of each group. Now, the responses to these questions are going to take up to 2 minutes. And after a set number of questions, we're going to transition to closing statements. So for Congress, there'll be 4 questions. And then for our other offices, there'll be 2 questions for the candidates. Now, if one candidate is mentioned by name, we've let them know that that candidate that was mentioned by name, they will have a route to rebuttal. If their name is mentioned, they just need to raise their hand. And time's going to be kept by a volunteer to keep everything honest. And as Josiah stated, of course, we're going to begin with our clerk of Superior Court forum here tonight, okay? And so for clerk of Superior Court, we have Beverly Ellis Macklin, and we have a current clerk of Superior Court, Amina Thompson. And I think they're both here today, right?
I am just trying to find them.
And so while he's getting them set up, again, candidate's going to have 3 minutes for the opening statements. And if they would respond to the opening question, and the opening question is going to be that the clerk of Superior Court is both a judicial officer and the chief administrator of the court's operations. So what experience best prepared you for this dual role, and why are you seeking to serve at this time?
Hang on one second. I'm just still having a little bit of trouble with asking everyone to unmute. I'm just going to make them co-hosts real quickly. Okay, candidates, you should be able to turn your cameras on and turn on your mics now. Rashad, if you just repeat the question, I think they didn't hear it.
Okay, excellent. My apologies. So we're going to ask each of the candidates give an opening statement, and if your opening statement will respond to the following question. Thank you. That question is going to be: the clerk of Superior Court is both a judicial officer and the chief administrator of the court's operations. So what experiences best prepared you for this dual role, and why are you seeking to serve at this time? And I believe Miss Ellis Macklin is going to be up first.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Armagine Beverly Ellis Macklin. On the printout, it will be A. Beverly Ellis Macklin because my whole name won't fit otherwise. I am running to serve as clerk of Superior Court. And I recognize the different administrative roles that it has: chief executive officer, administration, facilitation between the courts, to preside over proceedings such as estates, adoptions, foreclosures. The experiences that I have that would enable me to serve in this role is many years of administrative positions. I work for many not-for-profit corporations. I've served on the board. The reason I'm running at this time is because I feel like there is a need to do so. I feel like there is room for improvement. I have experienced many things having been involved, not just with in the business industry, but I've served many years in the legal field as a paralegal, as well as bachelor's degrees in organizational management, as well as social and behavioral sciences. I believe that I can curate all of my experiences and that they will be effective in the role of clerk of Superior Court. And so at this time, I'm choosing to run because it just seems like it's the appropriate time in my life, as well as in the court system.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that response, and we appreciate you sharing that experience with us. Madam Clerk.
Yes, good evening, fellow Democrats, and thank you for this opportunity to join you this evening. My name is Amina Thompson, and I am honored to serve as your Durham County Clerk of Superior Court. I have dedicated my career to public service. I am a licensed attorney, and before my historic election to clerk, I served 14 years as a Durham County magistrate, presiding over criminal, civil, and traffic matters. That experience shaped not only how I understand the law, um, but also that it showed me that it is something that directly affects people's lives. I bring to the office a combination of legal training, judicial experience, and institutional leadership. As clerk, as has been pointed out, I carry a wide range of constitutional and statutory responsibilities that go far beyond administrative work. Our office provides record keeping and administrative support for both district and superior courts in Durham County. We also serve as comptroller, collecting, investing, dispersing, and safeguarding public funds. And I serve as a judge, hearing probate and estate matters and special proceedings such as foreclosures, partitions, adoptions, name changes, and many others. So while also managing a staff of 70, I'm making judicial decisions that directly affect families, property, and generational legacy. My responsibility is not only to apply the law correctly and fairly, but to ensure accountable, accessible, and service-driven courts. Under my leadership, Durham has transitioned to e-courts, the statewide electronic record-keeping system. We've improved public access by removing unnecessary financial barriers. We developed plain language forms, expanded resources through our website, resource newsletter, and clearer, more direct public communication. And most importantly, we have built an office known for responsiveness, professionalism, and respect, work that I'm very proud of and committed to continuing. So thank you again for having me, and I look forward to a thoughtful and informative forum.
Thank you both for those opening statements. And if we could, we'll jump right into our first question. And our first question here, we're going to actually have Madam Clerk, if you will respond first. For many residents, the clerk's office is their primary point of contact with the court system. What principles guide how you believe the clerk's office should serve the public, particularly people navigating the courts without an attorney?
Well, the primary principle is that, courts should not make it more challenging or more stressful. It should bring a sense of stability to already possibly tumultuous times. So I lead my office with an emphasis on customer service, very heavy on that, accessibility, efficiency, making sure that we are looking at the accuracy of the court records and shifting to a more proactive system instead of a reactive system, meaning helping people to understand the court processes before there becomes a problem so they won't have such a hard time navigating the system once they're within it.
Thank you for that, Madam Clerk. Ms. Alice Macklin, would you respond to the question as well? You're on mute.
I'm mute. Okay, thank you. I definitely believe that the purpose of the clerk's office, especially the forward-facing public, should be focused on customer service. I believe you mentioned individuals who self-represent. They are referred to as pro se litigants. I have had the opportunity to litigate in Durham County Courthouse for the first time in 2013 when I was doing a third-party custody proceeding to gain custody of a minor child who had resided in my home since the time she was 4 months old. I did receive temporary custody as well as then permanent custody. And it was some years. It took the case, the process through. As it relates to what I think needs to be done differently, and if I must say better, it should definitely be the lines of communication, as well as with the advent of e-courts, teaching people how to utilize those resources. One thing I do notice is that When you go into like the civil filing office, like say in the family court section, there are actually no computers there. But on the um, first level of civil filing or civil judgments, there are only two computers for public use. I don't believe that that is sufficient when you are dealing with such a large populous community. Two computers per office is totally, to me, ineffective. And again, I believe that there should be people in place to teach people how to utilize those resources. One thing I definitely plan on implementing is a technology team who has the ability to not only utilize the resources, but to teach others how to utilize those same resources that will be beneficial to them as litigants as well as a person in the public.
All right. Thank you both for those responses. We really appreciate that. And we're going to go into our second question here. And if you would answer this first here, Ms. Ellis Macklin, okay? Now, the clerk's office manages records, estates, foreclosures, special proceedings, and a large staff that's under a significant workload pressure, okay? How would you approach leadership, staff support, and accountability to ensure the office runs efficiently and accurately?
Okay. The way that I would approach that is to, first of all, find out who the staff are as far as how long they've been there, uh, as well as their particular skill sets. Um, I would, of course, make sure they have a very strong customer service background because frontline support is essentially what that is. And how I view that is I understand there are other duties, the judicial side of it for adoptions, foreclosures, name changes, estates, all of those things. And of course, there are certainly judges as well as magistrates there within the building to assist with those functions. However, there's only one elected clerk of court. And to me, it is the primary duty as it relates to the administration of the office to make sure that is done in an effective manner. I would have individuals who could reach me in a ready fashion, not a long drawn out process, not jumping through hoops, but being present and being available to respond to complaints and or concerns. And I believe in team building. So that is how I intend on approaching that office as far as finding who the key leaders are and building those team and those connections and commitments.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Ms. Ellis Macklin.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, if you will respond.
Yes, certainly. The way that I handle, ensuring the efficiency and accuracy and accessibility of the office through leadership of the team is definitely, first of all, recognizing excellence. Since I've been there as clerk, as I mentioned, I started the Clerk's Quarterly newsletter to provide resources for people, but also to boost the morale in the office. In that newsletter, I recognize my staff for excellence when they go above and beyond. I try to have office, interaction, different things within the office to boost morale. Very heavy emphasis on cross training and staff training, not only to things like customer service and cultural competence, but also skills, making sure we have the skill sets to operate the systems appropriately and efficiently, always redesigning workflows, and making sure that our human capital is used to the best of its ability. Of course, there are some limitations, system limitations within eCourts, and also, constraints that are beyond the clerk's office's control, such as, as Ms. Ellis Macklin mentioned, computer terminals and things like that. Those are obviously provided to us by the state. Budget obviously there is very limited. So certainly try to provide all the resources that I can with the clerk's office limited resources. I'll mention one thing that I did was continuing legal education for the bar, teaching them about the functionality of e-courts so that practitioners could better use the file and serve system. And I do look forward to implementing some other trainings so that other people who are interfacing with the system are better trained.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate you keeping an eye on time.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, we appreciate you both responding to those questions. We know that this is not an easy job, not an easy race. So thank you so much for representing yourselves and the jobs in the office that you wish to seek, okay? Right now, we're going to end this Superior Court Forum with closing statements, okay? And if we would, let's start with Miss Ellis Macklin. Closing statement, please.
Sure. And I didn't know because Madam Clerk mentioned my name if I were to do a rebuttal in addition to the closing statement, but it's fine either way. No worries there. But just as a point of clarity, when we think about budget concerns and budget constraints, it is my understanding that the Durham County Clerk's Office have a very hefty budget. I consider it hefty, $5.5 million. To me is a hefty budget to be able to implement new technologies, especially since e-courts have been 100% for a long time now, for more than 2 years. I think it important also to let litigants know that they do not have to physically appear in court, but that they can appear via WebEx and have that opportunity as well. Today is a perfect example as to why e-courts are very important and WebEx, because if anyone had any business at the courthouse today and had to physically be there, it would have been very challenging to do that. So as it relates to that, I don't, again, I believe it important to, of course, work within budget constraints, but some things have to be reevaluated. If we put the focus on technology, not just technology within the physical building, but being able to teach others how to use that technology outside of the building, as well as it is my plan to implement a phone bank system where people can call in and they don't have to come to the courthouse, but there is a team in place that will answer their questions, assist them to pay their tickets online, remind them of their court dates, utilize emails, text messages, things of this nature to notify people that you have an upcoming court date and to be very present, to hold people's hand through the process, because the only time people come to court and they're happy is when they're getting a marriage license. Other than that, it's a traumatic experience.
Thank you so much for being graceful there, Ms. Ellis Macklin. We appreciate your closing statement. Madam Clerk, if you would give us a closing statement as well.
Yes, thank you again, Rashad. Thank you to the Young Democrats of Durham, Durham Democrats, Durham Democratic Women for hosting this forum and for your continued commitment to strong local leadership. Judicial offices at every level carry a serious responsibility, and the Clerk of Superior Court is no different. Serving as clerk requires legal judgment, independent decision-making, and experienced leadership. And it's a role that demands preparation and carries real consequences for the people that we serve. 3 years ago, I promised to lead our courts into a new era grounded in equity, accountability, and access, and I've delivered. I've guided our courts through a historic transition while maintaining a high standard of service that Durham residents expect and deserve. I will continue to provide leadership that understands both the law and the people that it serves. Durham deserves steady, experienced, values-driven leadership in this office. It deserves continuity, competence, and integrity, and that is exactly what I will continue to deliver. I'm proud of the progress we've made, clear about the work ahead, and excited to continue serving. So to learn more about my background and my priorities, please visit thompsonforjustice.com, and I would be honored to earn your support and your vote.
All right. Thank you both. Thank you both so much for that. We really appreciate those closing arguments. And for the good people of Durham, those were your two candidates. Therefore, a clerk of Superior Court. Again, Miss A. Beverly Ellis Macklin, and the current clerk of Superior Court, Amina Thompson, for you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
All right. And so I believe we're going to be moving on to our District Court Judge Forum here. And the District Court Judge Forum, we got 4 candidates going to be participating today, 2 for each contested seat. So when you vote, you're going to get the opportunity to select either candidate from each of the open seats, of course. So running for seat 2, we have Keith Bishop and George Doretta Walker. And running for seat 5 is going to be Senior Assistant County Attorney Christy Hamilton Malott and Judge Clayton Jones Jr. And let me know when we get everyone ready.
I am just bringing everyone in right now.
Thank you.
Okay, I think you should have everyone who's here. I'm just seeing if Mr. Bishop is here, which I don't believe so. Okay. I believe we do not have Keith Bishop here, but everyone else is here.
Everyone else is here. Okay. Excellent. All right. So, do we want to start with C2 or C5?
We're going to be doing them all in all together. So
Okay.
you have the order for opening statements should be Judge Walker, Judge Jones, Attorney Malott, and then Mr. Bishop.
Excellent. Okay. So we'll do them all at one time, as he stated. And we're going to start off with opening statements for each of the candidates. We do appreciate the 3 of you for being with us here tonight, okay? So like you said, we'll start off with Judge Walker, Attorney Malott, and Judge Jones. That'll be the order that we'll give our opening statements. And if you would, with your opening statement, respond to this question. Who are you, and what do you plan to bring to the bench as a district court judge?
Good evening. My name is Doretta Walker. I am one of the 7 district court judges in Durham. I am a Durham native. I have been on the bench since 2011, haven't been elected then. I am a graduate of Northern High School. I went to UNC with a degree in psychology and criminal justice and went to UNC Law School. I started off working at Carolina Legal Services in Raleigh. Then I clerked for 3 years at the North Carolina Court of Appeals. Then I was assistant district attorney for 13 and a half years, and I have been a judge for 15 years, working in every courtroom in the courthouse. And being a judge and helping our citizens and especially children, that's my passion. I love what I do. And the question, I believe, is what will I bring to being a judge?
What you bring to the bench? Yes, ma'am.
What would I bring to being a bench? I will bring my passion for helping the citizens of Durham, the citizens that I have been through, because those are the people that I have grown up with. Those are the people that I live with. Those are the people that I go to grocery stores with, that I go to church with. This is my hometown. These are the people I love. These are the people that I want to continue to serve. serving Durham and serving the people that I grew up with, the people that I see every day in court and elsewhere. That is what I want to continue to do, and that's what I intend to do. And I thank you all, and I hope that you all will allow me to continue doing it. And any other questions you have, I'll be there.
Thank you so much for that opening statement, Ms. Walker. And forgive me, I do apologize. I did receive a correction here. It's like Clayton Jones is going to be second next with his opening statement.
All right. All right. I would like to thank the Democratic Party, Young Democratic Party, for organizing this event and all those who are aligned today. I started my career in 2003, starting as assistant public defender, what gave me the experience to represent those charged from misdemeanor traffic offense to advance to defending those charged with murder. Also, I was one of the first during that time because that's when we just started doing child support enforcement. So I had the privilege of defending those who had show cause matters in child support. I worked with the Public Defender's Office for approximately 15 years before transitioning to the District Attorney's Office, where I was able to then prosecute those with violent crimes from robberies to ultimately murder. Then I was blessed in 2018 to serve my first term as district court judge. And what an amazing experience and transition it was for that point, because I was able to bring my criminal experience and then open to the world to civil matters. And then from civil matters, I started family court, juvenile delinquency, involuntary commitments, those type matters. And that made me well-rounded for my second term when I was appointed to Chief District Court Judge, whereas Chief, I was able to supervise scheduling, magistrates. And when you look at magistrates, that's like the emergency room of the courthouse. That's the first line where everyone comes in. And it's been a challenge, but I loved it. And so what do I bring to the bench? I started from 2003 to the present, which means for 22 years, I've solely served Durham in criminal as well as in civil matters. And with that comes with an experience. Experience allows you to be able to meet someone and understand that the court system cannot be done in a cookie cutter manner. You have to reach people where they are, understand where they are, and then try to make sure we provide the resources and understanding of what they need. So with that, I'm asking for your support to continue to serve Durham with the experience and training that I have in civil and criminal, because we manage 13 separate courtroom dockets on any given day in Durham. Not just civil matters, not criminal. And with the 7 judges we have now, we have to be interchangeable. District court is not a courtroom for just like a jack of all trades. We have to be a master of all. And that's what I bring to you in serving Durham County. Thank you.
Thank you for that opening statement, Judge Jones. Attorney Malott.
Yes. Thank you, Rashad, for being our moderator, and thank you to the Young Democrats for hosting this tonight. I'm Christy Malott, and I'm running for District Court Judge. I, like Judge Walker, grew up in Durham, and we must have had parallel lives because I graduated from Riverside, from Duke, and from North Carolina Central School of Law. And I've spent 20 years serving my hometown. As a Durham girl, I'm really proud of Durham. I'm proud that Durham sees the struggles of immigrants and is now stepping up to address it. I'm proud that Durham sees the issues with A&D court and with juvenile court and that people are speaking out about concerns. I'm proud that Durham is paying attention to the role of trauma in our courts. I don't think there are any easy answers, and I'm not here to say to you that there are, but the reality is that over half of the courtrooms in Durham are courts that address children and families, child abuse and neglect, custody, juvenile, domestic violence. These are intense courtrooms. Court is stressful on parties and on witnesses and on professionals. It's stressful on court personnel. Times are harder than ever for immigrants in our community. We need a judge with experience in child custody, abuse and neglect, domestic violence, and juvenile court more than we need another judge with experience in criminal law. I'm the judge we need. I've spent 20 years addressing these exact issues and serving with my entire heart in Durham. Justice Matters is a nonprofit in downtown Durham. It started as an immigration law practice, and I joined to help address a very serious lack of access to justice. And that was a lack of access in the family law arena. And under my guidance, Justice Matters added a family law section offering free legal services to those who are unable to afford a family law attorney. During this period of time, we also developed a pro se center at the courthouse in order to offer free legal services there. Was fortunate to serve many immigrant clients, and I learned their stories and I learned their struggles, and I also learned their incredible successes. I have experience applying the trauma-informed principles from the mental health arena to the practice of law. I've been trained and I've trained others around the state. I believe we can bring these principles to district court, and I have the experience to help do it. It doesn't need to be expensive, and I believe it truly can reduce secondary trauma on those who come to court and the court personnel who serve. My entire career demonstrates my commitment to service and to justice. And so I would encourage all of you, instead of just listening to our words, to actually go to our websites, do some research on the history of all of our candidates, all the candidates that are here today. Check out ChristyMalott.com, look at my resume, and I think you'll see that Durham really does need a judge with this kind of experience. I'm excited to be here today and talk about the issues. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for those opening statements. We're going to jump right into the questions. And our first question here is going to be district court judges are often the first and only judge people encounter. What, in your professional experience, best prepared you for this role? And why do you want to serve Durham County specifically at the district court level? And if we would, we're going to start with Judge Walker. You on mute, Judge Walker.
Okay. What best prepared me for this role? All the experience, some of it I have already told you about. I told you one of the experience, life experiences, most of all, but also I clerked. Having clerked at the Court of Appeals for 3 years, which was a bit long, I learned and researched and wrote about numerous issues, all kind of issues in criminal, civil, some of the same issues that we deal with on a daily basis in our courts now. Additionally, having worked in the DA's office, I was supervisor of the property and fraud division. I did the first appearances. That's what I was hired to do when I first was in the DA's office. I did the involuntary commitments. I handled felony cases. I handled district court throughout the 13 years I was there. Anytime there's somebody needed something handled in district court, I was the one that was there, even though I was doing felony cases there. In superior, as a district court judge, I'm in mental health court. I'm in abuse neglect court. Every day, I might be sent to 2 courtrooms, 1 courtroom. I'm always there. I'm willing to go wherever I'm needed. I'm willing to do whatever I'm needed. Being a district court judge, it's not a 9-to-5 job. We have to always be ready. And day, night, our job does not end once we leave the bench. We're always doing something, whether it's answering a phone call from somebody in the middle of the night or during the day. I hope that answers your question.
No, thank you so much for that. Judge Jones?
Right. I believe you said district court judges are the first people we encounter, and what best makes you prepare to serve. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I think I answered some of it in my opening statements. I've served every courtroom, starting from in the public defender's office. I was there at the jails to meet those who were charged with those cases. Moving to the district DA's office, I was there to speak to victims who were charged with violent crimes and unfortunately had experienced gun violence. Moving on to the civil matters, I've presided over family court matters, child support matters, any matters that appear before me, because there has not been a courtroom in Durham County that I have not presided in. Now, what was the second part?
Why do you want to serve Durham County specifically at the district court level?
Why do I want to continue to serve at Durham County? As Judge Walker stated, this is not a 9-to-5 job. I mean, I've taken calls 2, 3, 4 in the morning to advise magistrates, officers, DA's office. It's a job to serve. And I always had that in my heart to continue to serve Durham in all aspects. Because if we believe that justice is going to be resolved in the four corners, four walls of the courthouse, we're missing it badly. I'm not just in the courtroom. I'm out here serving my community in all grounds. If the call is made, I am there to serve. And I think oftentimes it's looked upon as, well, it's just on the bench, what the judges are doing on the benches. For my juveniles, I'm at the schools. I speak to them at the schools. I go to church forums, anywhere it's needed to make sure that justice is not just looked upon in the courtrooms or any programs or any hot topic when the cameras are on. We have to make sure we try to help those in need where they are and meet them where they are. And that's what I've been doing for the entire 23 years serving Durham County. And that's what I want to continue to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Jones. Attorney Malott, if you will respond.
Yes. So I've served in private practice. I've done government work. I've done nonprofit work. I've tried hundreds of cases. I've handled a heavy caseload. Done extensive work with children and families. I've served immigrants, and I've learned where the intersection of immigration law and criminal law is. And I think I gave earlier examples of my experience in trauma-informed work. And also my strong belief that we need judges who understand the issues that are unique to immigrants and children and families. I want to serve in Durham County because this is my hometown. This is where I grew up. I've stayed here my entire life. I went to undergrad and law school in Durham because I love Durham. And I truly just want to serve and make a difference in the places that I'm needed. And I have, in my career, taken steps wherever I've seen the need. And right now, I see a strong need for someone on the bench with my skill set. So I'm offering my services now.
Thank you so much. And we appreciate our candidates sticking close to time. We're going to move on to our next question. And actually, Attorney Malott, you're going to be up first here this time, okay? Now, Durham's district court handles cases that disproportionately affect low-income residents, people of color, and self-represented litigants. What responsibility does a district court judge have to ensure fairness and public trust, and how do you approach that responsibility?
I think that a district court judge is the front lines in establishing fairness and public trust in the eyes of the public and the eyes of those individuals who appear in front of the judge. And I think the most important thing I can say is that my career already shows my commitment to that. There is an absolute lack of access to justice, equal justice for everyone. And I've taken steps to try to address it, and I will continue to take steps to address it. And I think another way that a district court judge can do that I've learned through my service of immigrants, is to identify issues related to language barriers. And a quick example would be that I had a client who did an entire trial in Farsi. And when we got on the elevator, she said, "I'm so glad I could understand that." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Oh, the interpreter spoke Dari. I'm sorry, the interpreter spoke Farsi. She needed Dari and the interpreter spoke Farsi." She didn't even know that she could tell me that. I learned an important lesson that day, which is that district court judges need to check in and make sure that the interpreter is speaking the right language, and not only the right language, but also the right dialect. That's an access to justice issue. And I think that there are many others, but I think a district court judge absolutely has to be open enough to hearing issues, approachable, treating people respectfully so that people are willing to speak up and address concerns that they have accessing justice, but then also to actively identify issues. And I would support grants and nonprofits who are also willing to step up and address those issues.
Thank you for that response. Judge Walker?
It's one of the things that I've learned over all the years as a district court judge, is especially for pro se people, one of the most important things that they care about, and one of the things that they talk about, is being listened to. They want people to listen to them. They want to be heard. So as a district court judge, one of the most important things that we have to do, and that we do in our courtrooms, is to listen to them. Sometimes I've had people say the most of them, they want to win, but the most important thing is to have somebody to listen to them, because they don't mind coming in there and telling all their business, and they want people to listen. That's the most important thing to them. And so as a district court judge, you have to be willing to listen. You also have to be willing to discern and determine what exactly it is that they're asking. Because sometimes what they're telling you one thing, but they're really asking for something else. So you're listening to them, you have to be able to tell what exactly that is and ask the right question, because sometimes they don't know the legal ease to get it all out into what exactly they want. So you have to be able to listen, you have to be able to discern. And that's one thing that experience and personal experiences that you're able to get out of people and being a good district court judge. And that's one of the things that I have learned to do as a district court judge.
Thank you so much for that, Judge Walker. Judge Jones.
Right. And thank you for that question. Along with Judge Walker, I'll continue with hers. Listening is the most important thing because there's no room in a courtroom for assumptions and lack of respect. So by listening, you don't make those assumptions of what someone needs or what you can tell them what they need. When we talk about access to interpreters and things like that, well, when you listen to hear what is being asked, AOC and under my administration, they have agreed to provide interpreters for every courtroom, either using our automatic crave system or bringing in an interpreter once they know, and we can do it simply. Once we got 3 days notice, we can get those things done. But we have to first listen, be respectful, and not make any assumptions, because oftentimes it can be assumed someone knows something when they may not even know, or it could be assumed that they're behaving a particular way, but we didn't even take the time to listen or respect that it may be a mental health issue, it may be some level of trauma. So we have to be supportive, cooperative, and understanding of each individual and not making assumptions that, okay, this is a cookie cutter system of justice. So since one person did it or one person understood it, we all gonna do that. By listening, we understand those things. And as a judge, we need to understand that the courtroom flows based on the respect level that the judge gives. If the judge gives the respect from above the bench, it all flows from behind the bench. And oftentimes, put on that black robe because we're sitting up high, that's not for the individual. That is for respect to the position. But that position demands that you give the respect to those in the courtroom. And you can only garner that by listening, being attentive, supportive, and respectful of all those who appear before the courtroom. And that's how you address those needs. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Judge Jones. We really appreciate you guys answering those questions. And you've done that so efficiently that we actually going to have time for one more question. Okay.
Rashad, if I may. Oh, I'm very washed out right now. We do have Mr. Bishop on the call.
Okay.
So we would like to bring him in to answer the next question as well as for closing statements.
Okay, excellent.
Hello, everyone.
Mr. Bishop, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well, thank you.
No, we appreciate you joining us. And so we got one more question that we're going to be able to ask the candidates here. And so to my understanding, you'll be able to answer this next question. You'll have 2 minutes to answer, and then we'll go to closing statements from everyone here as well, okay? And since you're just joining us, we're going to let you go first on this next question, okay? How about that?
That's fine.
All right, so the question here, Durham County's district court faces heavy caseloads, public scrutiny, and increasing demand for transparency. What specifically distinguishes you as a right fit for this level of court at this time?
Well, I think in my case, I bring a lot of experience dealing with a lot of clients, particularly in the district court level, where clients want to have judges who can, as you've been discussing in the previous question, hear them and believe that you are, in fact, being just and fair toward them. It's often regrettable to see clients come into the courtroom, win or lose, and feel like they've not really been treated fairly. And this is not necessarily pointing fingers to anyone in particular, They want to know that they were treated with dignity and respect. And very often that is something that is missing. And as an advocate going in there, I hear that directly from the clients. And I think with that experience, I think I'm particularly prepared to reciprocate that need for transparency and the feeling of being heard in that courtroom. And knowing that when I walk in there, I'm treated with dignity and respect, and not have the feeling that I've been cut several ways by the stares I get. People want to know that you're prepared to address their issues fairly and competently, and you understand the issues they bring to you for resolution. That's what people want in that courtroom. And I think that broad experience across many jurisdictions prepare me and equip me to deal with that. I see how people get dealt with in different jurisdictions. You bring all of those lived experiences into the forum. And so I think I'm well prepared. You go to federal courts and you see how the courtroom is handled with transparency. And there's a high level of respect and regards in those courtroom settings. You bring that experience into the district courts, and people understand and appreciate the treatment you give to them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bishop. Attorney Malott.
Okay, sorry, had to unmute myself. Thank you again to everyone for joining this and for hosting, and thank you, Rashad, for being our moderator tonight. Durham has historically elected criminal law attorneys to the bench. We do need judges with criminal law backgrounds, but it's time to consider whether another skill set may also be useful at this time in particular. Courts really can become more trauma-informed, and it's not an expensive thing. And I believe that judges really can have backgrounds in the areas of district court that carry a strong impact on our community. My 20 years of practice here in Durham demonstrates what I would bring to the bench. And I believe that that what I will bring is what Durham needs the most right now. And that's an understanding of trauma-informed services, an understanding of the unique needs that immigrants have, an understanding and experience in A&D court, in domestic violence court, in juvenile court, and in custody court. Custody court in particular is an issue because there are so many pro se litigants, and judges have to write lengthy civil orders, and many of these civil cases go up on appeal, and judges benefit from having experience doing appellate work. In addition to that, a judge does need an understanding of criminal law, and I do have an understanding of the criminal law issues in district court. And so I would ask all of our voters to consider what skill set is needed the most right now, and consider the skill sets that the candidates have and make a decision based on that. I believe that I have the skill set that's needed most.
Thank you so much for that. All right, and let's see here next. Let's go to Judge Jones, if you will respond to the question.
Okay. So I've had heavy caseloads in every arenas that I've been in. From the public defender's office, I've had a caseload of over 200 cases. In the district attorney's office, I think it would have been double, because not only do you represent all parties. So all I know is heavy caseloads, and that has prepared me as a district court judge, not just in criminal, but as well as civil, because it gave me the opportunity to preside on both matters. Right now, I am one of the few judges who are in family court where I actually write the orders on our pro se civil matters. And when I started, we had a clearance rate of over 39% of cases that lasted over a year. Since the time I'm in the family court, my personal one has reduced down to 17% of cases lasting over a year. Families deserve closure regardless to how many cases you have. And it's not a 9-to-5 job. This laptop comes home every day where I prepare, I know the cases, and good or bad, I hold attorneys accountable to make sure we're going to devote a sufficient amount of time so we can maximize the number of cases we can hear, because at the end of the day, one case is not more important than another, but you need to make sure you're prepared and be transparent and let everybody know the time frames. This is what's expected, so all families can get the closure that they need. Whether it's criminal, civil, immigration, it doesn't matter. We can't just narrow down as to being one issue that is more important than the other one, because that person who appears in court, they believe at that time their case is the most important. And as a judge, you have to make them believe that that case is more important in spite of docket size or anything, but make sure we move the cases along efficiently and respectfully. And that's all I've done since 2003. And that's what I've done since I've been elected in 2018 as your judge. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Jones. Judge Walker, I know it's been a while. Do you need me to repeat the question?
No, I think Judge Jones brought it back to us. As to crowded dockets and whatnot, as a judicial official, as a district court judge, it's very important in being efficient that we as judges be on time, that we be transparent with people about the time constraints, that we be prepared once we get into court. I've handled as assistant district attorneys, back in the old courthouse, we had 300-day dockets. And sometimes they left me in there by myself and I handled it. As a district court judge, I've been in 2, sometimes 3 courtrooms in one day. I've handled it. As a in any given day, I'm going to make sure the cases are handled. And if I'm unable to handle all of it, I'm going to announce to the people in there the reasons why we are unable to, and make sure that everybody knows what's going on, and ask if there are convenient court dates for them to come back, and make sure that it's transparent as to what's going on. Most of them can see what's going on, and I'm going to make sure that if we have to continue a case, that it's on a day that's convenient for them. And we're going to try to make sure that we don't have days that they cannot come back. But it's up to the judge, and we are the face and the person they're going to blame. So it's important for us to be prepared and to be there and to be on time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, each of you, for answering that question for us here. And we're going to move to closing statements at this time, okay? And with the closing statements, we're actually, let's see here. Let's start with Attorney Marlott.
Okay. Thanks again, everyone, for being here. Sorry, I said that earlier because I thought we were already doing closing statements. This really is an honor to be in front of everyone and have an opportunity to talk about the issues that matter. I agree that a district court judge needs to listen well and needs to treat everyone with respect and needs to be able to handle a heavy docket and needs to be able to move cases efficiently and treat everyone fairly. I also believe a district court judge needs to be able to identify issues related to a lack of access to justice for everyone. That is an issue in many areas in our community, and sometimes it's difficult to see what those areas are, and sometimes they're easier to spot. And I am committed, as I have in my entire career, to looking for those issues, to identifying them, and to seeking ways to address them in the same way that I have as a lawyer. And so I would ask everyone to please consider the backgrounds of all the candidates, look at the resumes, look at the work history, and make a decision about what's needed right now in 2026 the most. I believe that candidate is me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Judge Walker.
Well, I want to thank you all for having us here today. Like I said before, being a judge is not a 9-to-5 job. Being a judge, this is my passion. I've been a public servant for most of my life. I love what I do. I love serving Durham. I love coming to work every day. I'm up for this. I've been doing this job for many years. I've been a public servant for 3 decades. My theme, or so to speak, is dedicated, trusted, and experienced. You can read more about me at electdorettawalker.com. judicial.com. I hope you continue with me on this journey of public servant, and I hope you support me and continue to vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Walker. Mr. Bishop.
First, thank you all for being here, for hosting this forum. I was in a virtual funeral for a relative who died, was shot, and we were funeralizing him today. And this just drew me out of my focus on the campaign for a moment. Look, after 33 years and plus practicing law, you learn a few things. You learn that people want to leave that courtroom feeling like they've been heard. You want a judge who would make them feel like they have closure on their issues. You want to go into the courtroom knowing that your issues were taken seriously and you were not disregarded because of the way you looked or sounded. And oftentimes, you would hear litigants come out of the courtrooms expressing their dissatisfaction. And that needs to stop. And the only way you will stop it is from time to time changing those who preside. And it's not an easy thing to do because we're saying to people, make changes, and they're afraid to change. I'm here to say that you have a candidate who is of this community, and you shouldn't be afraid of the people in your community who has been serving it for many years. You need a candidate who brings competencies that you need, people who have real lived experiences, who have children whom they've raised in the community, who work with churches and the schools, who have done all the things to make this community better. And I would invite you to go to my webpage, electkeithbishop.com, see more about me, and know that it's a safe, good choice for change.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. We appreciate that. If you would, Judge Jones, closing statements.
Right. I would like to thank you for hosting this forum and giving me the opportunity to speak and share my platform. I ran in 2018 under the platform of CARES, compassion, accountability, respect, and efficiency, and at that time, my years of service. I've been serving Durham for the past 23 years, and the key word is service. I've served that bench in any manner that has been required, sometimes operating in multiple courtrooms when there's been a judge out, handling special cases, conflict cases, civil cases, criminal cases. There hasn't been a courtroom in Durham County that I have not presided in. There have not been a litigant I have not had before me, whether they were black, white, immigrant, and I use residents of Durham because their citizenship does not matter. Whether we need to determine whether they're going to receive fair and equal justice as they appear before me in court. I always try to exercise the proper temperament because the flow of the courtroom flows from me. And if I don't make sure everyone is treated with dignity and respect, how can I expect to receive it back? Experience matters. We can narrow it down and say, well, training and things like that. Have availed myself to every training the School of Government have, from trauma-informed courts to racial equity, remitting fines, fees, and costs. And I would dare say Durham County right now leads the state in remitting fines, fees, and costs, so we don't have those financial barriers on anyone who appears before us in court. We're doing the job. I'm doing the job. And what I would ask you to continue to support me in this reelection campaign. You can visit me at Clayton Jones for Judge. I'm open to receive any and all questions about my time on the bench and my ideology of serving Durham. So I thank you all. I thank you everyone for here tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to each of those candidates for their closing statements. And again, thank you all for being here to answer the questions for the people of Durham tonight. And again, running for seat 2, that's going to be Mr. Bishop and Judge Walker for you there. And running for seat 5 is going to be Judge Jones and Attorney Malott. Thank you all. Thank you all again.
Thank you.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe we're going to have a 5-minute intermission. So if you all just give us 5 minutes and we will be right back. I got the time at 6:40, so 6:45.
During this intermission, for folks who are sticking around, we do have two candidates who are not going to be taking part in the full forum program, but are here to give a 1 minute introduction of themselves and what they're running for. They're candidates for the Court of Appeals of North Carolina, seat 3. So I believe both of them are in here. It's Attorney James Whalen and Judge Christine Walsick. Just making sure we got our folks.
Thank you. And they're going to give those statements prior to the intermission.
During the intermission. We're in intermission now.
Okay, excellent.
I'm just looking for.
I think we just need James Whalen to turn his camera on.
All right.
There we go.
All right, amazing. Well, while we're here, I will like to welcome Judge Christine Walsick to give your 1 minute.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Judge Christine Walsick, and I'm on your ballot March 3rd for the North Carolina Court of Appeals at seat 3. I've worked in the legal profession for 30 years. I've been a trial judge for 19 years, and I've got a proven record of safeguarding due process and individual rights in our courtrooms. Before I was a judge, I owned my own law firm with now Senator Lisa Grafstein, and we opened that firm so that we would have the freedom to represent the little guy and be a voice for marginalized populations. In these difficult times, I think you deserve skilled and experienced judges that have the moral courage to safeguard the individual liberties that our constitutions guarantee, like the right to free speech, the right to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures, the right to public education, and the right to vote. We also deserve a more diverse court. As the only woman running for the Court of Appeals in 2026, I hope to give Democratic women at least one seat at this table. I'm endorsed by the Teachers Association, the People's Alliance in Durham, and more than 25 former judges at all levels of court. You can go to judgechristine.com and read more about me. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Judge Walsick. Attorney Whalen.
Well, thank you. Yes, thank you so much for squeezing us in. I'm James Whalen. I'm an appellate attorney, and I'm part of the small group of North Carolina attorneys who have been fighting to protect our rights. I've fought gerrymandering, fought for our public schools, held domestic abusers accountable, and last year when extreme politicians tried to steal an election, I defended our votes and defended Justice Allison Riggs's victory. We've been winning on the law, but losing on the politics. Democrats have lost every Court of Appeals race since 2018, and if we lose this time, there will not be another Democrat on the court. And that's where I need your help. We need to close the book on a losing strategy and start running winning campaigns. That means speaking clearly about the damage the current majorities have done to our state and how a better court could improve people's lives. I'm proud to have the Durham Committee's endorsement, the endorsement of every Supreme Court justice who's endorsed in this race since I announced my campaign, groups and individuals all across the state, and I hope to have your support as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Attorney Whalen. With that, we will finish out our intermission for the remaining 1 minute. Thank you all. We'll return with the Superior Court Judge Forum after this.
Right. I believe that's 5 minutes. Just wanting to make sure I'm still honest to that. And I believe we're going to head into our congressional forum. Do we have all the
So
candidates?
that's we're doing Superior Court first. Sorry,
Oh,
Rashad.
Superior Court. Okay.
I believe we do have.
Okay, I've just made both candidates the co-host so they can turn their cameras on and unmute. Spotlight.
All right. Thank you for that correction. So we're actually going to be going into the Superior Court Judge Forum here today. And we have with us Miss Cooper Chester and Commissioner Griffith here with us today, right? And then we're going to begin, as we did the other forums here, with opening statements. And if you would, with your opening statements, keep it to, I believe, we have 3 minutes, and just respond to the following question, if you would. Who are you, and what is your judicial philosophy, and what do you plan to bring to the bench? And if we would, let's start with you, Ms. Cooper Chester.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me and giving us this opportunity to introduce myself. And it's good to see you, Rashad. So my name is Amisha Cooper Chester. I was born and raised here in Durham, educated in the Durham public school system, and have been serving Durham my entire career. With regards to my philosophy is simple. I will approach each case with an open mind. I will listen carefully to the evidence that is presented and observe carefully as well. And then I will apply the law to the facts. With regards to how people are treated in the courtroom, that is paramount to me. We've heard a lot about it throughout the course of the evening, but when a litigant believes that the person on the bench is interested in what they are saying and is invested in their case, then the trust in our system will be improved. And so I'll be a judge that listens intently and that pays attention and applies the law correctly. And what I bring to the bench is a commitment to the people of Durham. And that commitment is demonstrated by my work history, which began in the Durham DA's office, assisting victims as they navigated through the criminal justice system. And I'm sorry, I cannot see the time. All right, thank you. I see it now. So I started with helping victims to navigate through the court system and explaining to them what their rights were and how they could participate in the system. I also began with working with young people as a juvenile delinquency prosecutor and working closely with the court counselors to wrap services around the young people who were involved in our court system to try to address the underlying issues. And with regards to the other things that I bring is a wealth of experience, civil experience, criminal experience, appellate experience, and administrative experience. All of this will inform how I hear cases and how I apply the law. And that I truly believe that the people of Durham deserve a judge that is both grounded in the community, rooted in the community, and knows the law and is comfortable with navigating the law. Superior Court judges hear very serious cases, felonies, civil matters involving disputes over $25,000. And you don't want on the job learning in a Superior Courtroom. I will be able to hit the ground running, to address each case, and to give it the attention that it deserves, and give people the opportunity to have closure in a timely manner.
Thank you for that opening statement. Commissioner Griffin.
Thank you to the Young Democrats and Democratic women. My name is Myra Griffin. I'm Vice Chair of the North Carolina Justice Commission, and I'm running for Superior Court, Seat 2. I would like to describe myself. I am more reserved than probably most attorneys, which I know you think is weird, but I am passionate about the work that I do and the people that I serve. I'm a first generation college graduate, public schools throughout uh, my lower grades into UNC Chapel Hill and North Carolina Central University School of Law. I understand what it's like to be judged by your resources that you have and your perceived status. I have shared experiences with members of the community based on my professional and my personal experiences. I also have specialized skills and relevant professional experience for this position. I have been a public servant for 28 years with the North Carolina Industrial Commission, and that is the trial courts for the entire state for cases involving workers injured on the job and cases involving personal injury and property damage against the state of North Carolina. For the past 21 plus years, I've served as a quasi-judicial judge. It's a trial judge for the commission across the state, and I've been fairly and impartially ruling on cases that impact families, individuals, and businesses across the state. I rose through the ranks. I worked first as a law clerk to a commissioner to begin being appointed to a commissioner by former Governor Roy Cooper for 2 terms. I've been confirmed in this role by bipartisan General Assembly. I have also served as Assistant Attorney General. I've appeared in Superior Court, Bankruptcy Court, administrative hearings. I've represented the state in criminal appeals from trial courts. I'm also hyper aware of how the criminal justice system impacts our community. I'm committed to balancing the victim's rights, the safety of the community with the constitutional rights afforded to the accused. My work at the Commission and the Department of Justice are experiences that have closely mirrored the responsibilities of a Superior Court judge. Approximately 50% of the cases we have in Superior Court are civil matters, and they involve property, contracts, and workplace rights, among other civil matters. And these decisions impact, the financial and economic livelihood of our families and businesses in our community. And with the departure of Senior Judge Ofalu, this creates an opportunity to elect an attorney who has a focus has been on civil law, and I'm hoping to strengthen and complement the current makeup of the Durham bench, which has more criminal experience with my significant civil litigation experience. I've graduated from Central School of Law. I have an excellent foundation in criminal law. I was a criminal law tutor under Professor Irv Joyner, who's a renowned criminal law professor. I had the ability to learn. Obviously, I graduated at the top of my law school class in the top 5. I had the ability to learn, and I'm excited to learn new areas of law. So any areas that I'm not as familiar with, I have the capability of learning that, and I think that's proven by the work that I have done. The 3 most important parts of being a judge and philosophy, you've got to have that experience, which I have 21 plus years of that. And I thank you for those questions.
Thank you so much for sticking to the time here, candidates. And I appreciate those opening statements. We're going to move on to our first question. And Commissioner Griffin, you're going to be up first, okay? What experiences in your legal career most shape your understanding of justice? And why does this moment in Durham County call for your leadership as Superior Court Judge?
Well, certainly, and thank you for that question, Mr. Sullivan. So as I mentioned earlier, I have been a trial judge in the civil arena, workers' compensation law for 21 plus years. So that experience has taught me to be fair and impartial. I know the importance of the opportunity to be heard by the parties. I know how to listen and hear cases without bias. I know how to treat parties with respect and dignity, having patience, especially with self-represented litigants, which I've managed cases. I can't even count the number of cases that I've had. I apply the law consistently, regardless of who the parties are, their resources, or status. I have with this, my experience has been, as I said, being impartial and fair. And now with the civil courts comprising 50%, those matters comprising 50% of the cases that appear, we need someone with that civil experience. It's very complex. It is hard to learn. And I can hit the ground running with those civil cases. And that's what Judge Ofalu is departing. He's leaving. So I would be able to step into that role that he is leaving and be the asset that the other judges could lean on for that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Cooper Chester, if you would.
Thank you for that question. It's so hard to think of, even just 3 experiences that I would be wanting to share that could explain my understanding of justice. But one case that comes to mind is one that involves a family that in their community there was a individual experiencing domestic violence. And in the middle of the night, one night, this lady ran to their home for help. And because it was a domestic violence situation, she did not want to participate in the prosecution, but her community was in danger and her community was very concerned. And so I prosecuted that case and she testified on behalf of the defendant. That defendant was on probation, and ultimately that conviction led to him leaving that community. And I remember the people who wrote in, who called in and thanked me for being their voice and for protecting them and that young lady. And so when I think about justice, it sometimes it doesn't look like we think it should look. But when we look at all of the concerns and we look at all of the things that need to be done, justice is a difficult thing. Another experience that comes to mind is the work that I've done for law enforcement, and ensuring that the people that we certify as law enforcement are ethical and are qualified. And so I think that justice is absolutely present on both the civil and the criminal side. And I think that this moment, and I'm sorry I didn't answer this second part, but this moment calls for my leadership because I have the background and I love the community. I have demonstrated that love and commitment to the community by my service on various boards and commissions and with various organizations within the community.
Thank you so much for that. We appreciate you both taking the time. And we're actually going to start this next question with you, Ms. Cooper Chester. The second question is that a Superior Court judges here in North Carolina, they handle complex criminal, civil, and constitutional matters under an increasing caseload and other pressures. Now, what specifically distinguishes you as the right fit for this level of court at this time?
Thank you for this question. For over a decade, I've been working in Superior Court. Superior Court is where this seat sits. And so whether it is a criminal case that involves very complex document review or a very complicated sentencing, I'm familiar with these things. I know about structured sentencing. I've applied it regularly and utilized it in negotiating pleas. And so that is some experience that I will rely heavily on. Another thing that Superior Court judges do is they hear appeals that come from the Office of Administrative Hearings. I have litigated these cases and have presented them in Superior Court, so I'm very familiar with that. Additionally, having worked in Superior Court for over a decade, I understand the inner workings of the system. I understand the players. I understand how the Superior Court system and the court system interacts with the other systems, other government systems, and how they impact families in a real way. And so these are experiences that I will pull from when I'm thinking about and when I'm resolving these cases in Superior Court. And I can't emphasize how important it is that I am grounded in this community, that I know the people who will be coming and receiving justice in these courtrooms. And my civil experience is I feel as though it's not getting as much attention as it should, but I've also represented the ABC Commission and dealt with temporary restraining orders and all matter of civil matters as well. And so I will be ready to address any type of case that comes before Superior Court judge should I be elected.
Thank you so much for that. Commissioner. You're on mute, Commissioner.
Did I unmute now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Sorry about that. My apologies. As Vice Chair of the Industrial Commission, my role, I manage hundreds of cases, and as a Deputy Commissioner, my prior position, I manage hundreds, and I continue to do that. I'm in a leadership position, so I set policy for the agency, and our agency is a large group of attorneys, so I'm managing those issues as well. My experience trying cases and managing, and more or less really managing the cases. I'm hearing the cases. I'm ruling on the motions from pre-discovery. I'm conducting hearings. I'm swearing in witnesses. I'm ruling on objections. I'm a neutral observer in the hearings. I'm not advocating or prosecuting either side. I'm listening to the evidence from both sides and making a decision, and using my discretion and weighing evidence. And, I said that I have done this. I've been fair and impartial and treating people with respect and dignity and having patience. And I'm saying those things, but those are not just things that are being said. They have been vetted by, the governor's office because I've been appointed in that position. I've been confirmed by the General Assembly, and they have looked at my body of work that I have produced over the past 21 years. And, getting that confirmation comes with the support of the trial attorneys that appear cases across the state, including Durham, the defense bar from across the state, including Durham, and the business industries that are from across the state. So I am, ruling on decisions and making decisions in policy to make sure that our decisions are consistent, which is what, is required. And so the attorneys and the parties know what they're getting when they appear in front of us. I'm able to write written decisions that have been reviewed and upheld at the North Carolina Court of Appeals. Our administrative agency, our decisions go straight to the Court of Appeals, not Superior Court, because the work that we are performing is comparable and considered similar to Superior Court judges. And I'm also subject to the Judicial Standards Commission, the Code of Conduct. So I'm operating fairly and impartially and with integrity and using judicial independence is what our judges do. And that civil background is very important. It's complex. It's hard to learn. No one knows everything. But of course, I'm willing to always learn and continue to grow and mature. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Commissioner. All right. And if we could, we're going to go ahead and finish with our closing statements. Ms. Cooper Chester, let's start with you first. You're on mute, Ms. Cooper Chester.
Thank you. I want to begin by thanking the Democrats for hosting this forum and for this opportunity to share a bit about myself and why I'm running. I love Durham, and I have the background that will be helpful to be an effective Superior Court judge. I believe that everyone coming to court should feel valued, seen, and respected. And at the end of their time in the courtroom, they should know that they truly had their day in court. With regards to my demonstrated commitment to serving the people of Durham, I have, as I said before, assisted victims navigating the criminal justice system. I have worked to expand restorative justice and diversion programs in Durham County. I have protected commerce for people who sell wine to ensure that they can compete and stay in business and remain the valuable parts of our economic fabric. And in my current role, I have secured the return of over $3.3 million of embezzled tax funds that's going to support our infrastructure and our public schools. Durham deserves a person who is on the ground among the people and cares deeply about their outcomes. And that is me. I am the candidate who has worked in Superior Court for over a decade and who has demonstrated a commitment to the people of Durham and who will serve Durham with dignity, with respect, and with great pride. So I ask that you will support me in this upcoming election. My website is Ameshia, AMESHIA, 4FOR, judge.com. And I look forward to you joining me on my campaign so that we can bring accountability and compassion to the Superior Court bench.
Thank you. Commissioner.
I think I'm unmuted. Okay. Thank you so much again for the opportunity to speak to everyone today. I want to say that I am rooted in this community. I chose Durham as my home 31 plus years. My neighbors, my church, my organizations, all of the things that I do, my personal are in Durham, and I'm committed to Durham. I have 28 plus years with extensive civil litigation experience. All of my career has been spent as a public servant. That's what I am committed to. I have 21 plus years as a trial judge. I have an established body of work, and I have a well-respected judicial temperament, which I think is very important. Parties know when they're appearing in front of me what they're going to, how to expect, how I'm going to behave, and how I'm going to treat them. I allow parties to have the opportunity to be heard and be treated with respect. I have also shown a commitment to the work and the impact of the work based on the work that I'm doing. The financial livelihood of individuals and families and businesses across the state have been impacted. But I have stayed here in this position, and I have worked my way from a law clerk to a commissioner to being confirmed as a commissioner. I have grown, and I've taken the opportunity to learn from mentors and get that information from the people, the attorneys that appear in front of me, and most importantly, the individuals that are impacted by our decisions. I'm learning from them as well. And I stated all those things that you need in a judge: being fair and impartial, the opportunity to be heard, listen to a case without bias and respect and dignity. I have proven that by my confirmation and the continued support I receive from the stakeholders that have wanted me to remain at the commission. And I'm honored to have earned the endorsements of multiple organizations, including the Durham's People's Alliance and the Durham Committee on the Affairs of Black People, and former Supreme Court justices who review the decisions of Superior Court judges. They have seen my work, they have seen my growth, and they are confident in my ability to take on this role as Superior Court judge. They know that I have the ability to handle the complex work of a Superior Court judge. I have shown a consistent commitment to applying the law with compassion and my demonstrated dedication to serve the community. And I've served the state, and I would love the opportunity to bring my skill set to Durham. I appreciate you, Myra, for judge, FOR judge, and I hope that I have earned your support this evening. Thank you both.
Thank you both for those closing statements. We just heard from both candidates for Superior Court Judge. Thank you and good luck to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I jumped the gun last time, but I think now we're headed into our congressional forum. And for our candidates for the congressional forum, we have the Durham County Commissioner, Nita Alam. We have Congresswoman Valerie Foushee and Miss Mary Patterson are going to be our three candidates that's going to be answering a few questions for us here. And are all candidates present?
We are not sure if Ms. Patterson is on the Zoom. Ms. Patterson, if you are on the Zoom, please reach out to me via phone or email so we can make sure that you have the right permissions. I believe Congresswoman Foushee is on with us.
Just like to have you all turn your camera on.
And I think we're going to give Miss Patterson a few moments to check in with Josiah. Let me know when we're ready to move on.
We can go ahead and start with opening statements. And if I do hear from Ms. Patterson, then we will add her into the rotation.
Okay, excellent. So we'll start with those candidates that were able to make it here. We would open the statements, if you both wouldn't mind responding to the question. What motivated you to run for Congress at this moment? And what specifically distinguishes you as the right fit for this role? And if we could start with the commissioner.
Thank you so much, Rashad, as well as the Durham Young Dems, Durham Democratic Women, and just the Durham County Democratic Party for hosting this forum, and for the almost 200 people who are here attending and listening. I'm Nida Alam. I'm currently serving as your vice chair of the Durham County Board of Commissioners, and I'm running for Congress in this moment because as we see Trump back in office and delivering on every single one of the promises that he made along the campaign trail, and causing our families and our neighbors to be suffering with the increased cost of living and Trump's authoritarianism coming into our backyards with ICE and CBP terrorizing and tearing apart families and murdering people in broad daylight with our taxpayer dollars, we can't settle for the status quo in this moment because our residents are suffering. And we need leadership that's willing to step up and fight back and use every tool in the toolbox that our safe blue seats have to make sure that working families have an advocate for them, that we understand the urgency of this moment. Because if we just tell residents that, well, Democrats are in the minority, so we can't do anything for 3 years until Trump's out of office, then what's the point of even having a safe blue seat, of having a Democrat in this seat? We need to stand up and fight back and use our leverage as Democrats, as progressives, to advocate for working families.
Thank you, Commissioner, for that. Congresswoman Fushi? Congresswoman, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you all for this opportunity to share and being here with us. And thank you for your flexibility in accommodating my schedule. I am between meetings now, but thank you again. I am Congresswoman Valerie Fouché, and I proudly represent North Carolina's 4th Congressional District. You know, throughout my years in public service, I've faced every challenge with the same approach: show up, do the work, and stay focused on delivering results for North Carolina. That commitment is the foundation of everything that I do, what I have done, and it remains unchanged. My record speaks for itself. I have been proud to stand up for our shared progressive values in Congress by introducing articles of impeachment against DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, voting against the NDAA, and against DHS funding for a bill that included more funding for ICE. This administration is trying to destroy the very fabric of our democracy by sending ICE into our communities, funding senseless wars abroad, and attempting to overturn fair elections in our state. My main priority is working to safeguard our democracy from authoritarianism. Once we overhaul election security, federal voting rights protection, reforms to the Supreme Court, and eliminating ICE and the way they operate, then Democrats can pass progressive, forward-thinking legislation like Medicare for All and the Green New Deal. I know what it means to be from North Carolina. I know the strain that this administration has caused and the pain that the North Carolina General Assembly has caused because I've lived it. I will continue to keep my head down. I will continue to keep my ears open, and I will continue to serve the people of the 4th District to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those opening statements. Is Ms. Patterson available?
I haven't heard from her, so we can continue with the first question.
All right, excellent. So with our first question, if you would, Congresswoman, what do you believe is the most urgent issue facing our district right now? And how would you address it in your first year in office?
It's hard to say one thing. I think what's most urgent right now is reining in ICE and Border Patrol. No community wants to see their community militarized. No community wants to see or experience what has happened in Minnesota. It is not lost on any of us that the funding that DHS has given to ICE to allow them to run rampant, to just pull anybody off the street and pay them sign-in bonuses to come in and terrorize our communities. When you see what is being perpetrated as law enforcement, murdering our citizens, then you know that something has to be done immediately. Immediately, ICE needs to be defunded. And that is what I was working on before I jumped on this call and what I will be working on when I get off this call. When we take that opportunity to vote on tomorrow or Tuesday, whenever the Republicans call us in to do so, we will be voting to defund ICE and the Department of Homeland Security. Now, people want us to do that in a blanket way, but understand this: FEMA is a part of Homeland Security. We have to take everything into consideration and make sure that we're talking about what works best for all North Carolinians and not just a few.
Thank you so much for the answer to that first question. Commissioner?
Yes, thank you, Rashad. The most pressing issue we're seeing right now in this district, but across this country, is taking on Trump. And that's taking on Trump in multiple levels, is the way that he is targeting and attacking our immigrant communities that we're seeing here in the 4th District, but across the country, with these masked, heavily armed agents that are using our taxpayer dollars to murder people in broad daylight. And I'm the only candidate in this race that has called for the abolishment of ICE because defunding is not enough. ICE is a Bush-era agency that was created in 2003 to target my community, the Muslim community, in the post 9/11 America. And now Trump is using them and our taxpayer dollars as his own private Gestapo to target and terrorize us. And so there is no reform to the agency of ICE. We must abolish it. And we must also continue to fight Trump for our working families who are struggling to make ends meet, who are struggling to put food on their table, or having to decide between paying their rent or paying their medical bills, that we need to pass a Medicare for all. We need to increase the federal minimum wage. And we have to take on the corporate corruption that exists in our government and the way that corporations are allowed to just buy our elections. And that's why I'm proud in order to take that fight against Trump and his MAGA Republican billionaire friends, that I've taken a stance to not accept a cent from corporate PACs or right-wing billionaires. Because you can't say that you're going to be fighting for our immigrant communities, but then taking money from corporations like Meta that have been banning and blocking individuals from sharing information about ICE. You cannot say that you are for or against wars, endlessly funding wars, when you're taking money from corporate defense contractors like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, and Caterpillar.
Thank you. Thank you both for responding to that question. And Commissioner, going on the heels of that answer, if the Democrats do retake the majority, how do you plan to hold the Trump administration accountable for their actions over the last year?
Yes, the way that I plan to hold the Trump administration accountable is working with civil liberties organizations like the ACLU to be fighting and suing the Trump administration for the ways that he has had an overreach of his power and targeted and killed innocent civilians in the streets, as well as working to end Citizens United, because why are we as Democrats in safe blue seats accepting money from the same corporations that are funding Trump and MAGA Republicans? That the way that we end corruption and hold Trump accountable is by getting this corporate money out of our elections so that we can fight for working families, so that we can fight for our immigrant communities and end the United States' endless funding of wars.
And Representative Fushi, for you, the same question. If the Democrats do retake here after the midterms, how do you plan to hold the president's administration accountable?
Thank you for that question. We've started to do so by signing on to amicus briefs that will help defend what has happened to particularly American workers under this administration. When we take back the House, we will have the ability to call him in and to ensure that he's been held accountable. What the Supreme Court has done by saying that while he is in office, he's pretty much able to do whatever he wants to do. That will not be the case. And rest assured that when the majority is given back to us, he will be held accountable. His administration will be held accountable. And impeachments where they are appropriate will be called.
Thank you so much for that response. Going on to our next question here, our commissioner, switching to current events, more of a foreign policy issue here. Now, what standards should the U.S. use to determine when military actions by allies cross unacceptable humanitarian or legal lines? And has that line been crossed in Gaza?
This line has absolutely been crossed in Gaza. It's been crossed from the very beginning. And now I am the only candidate in this race that has called what has been happening in Gaza a genocide. And international courts have called it national humanitarian organizations, international, sorry, have called it a genocide, as well as international courts have called Netanyahu a war criminal that he is. And not only is it about not funding these wars, but it's also about not going for photo ops with war criminals and visiting and flying to Israel in the midst of a genocide to take these pictures as when your families and community members here are struggling to make ends meet, but we continue to write blank checks to war. And we need to look at how many innocent civilians, the official number, but we know that the unofficial number is higher, is 70,000 Palestinians who have been murdered and killed. No matter what, those innocent lives will never be returned. We have the largest population of child amputees. And this is what our incumbent has voted to send our taxpayer dollars to fund. Over $26 billion that she voted to approve to fund this genocide. And I, for one, believe that the United States need to get out of the endless funding of wars because as a Muslim woman who's grown up in this country, I have seen the ramifications of the United States endlessly funding wars because it's communities like mine that have been targets overseas, and the communities like mine here domestically that have been targeted and dehumanized because of the United States endlessly funding wars. And the reason that we continue to invest in wars is because these corporate defense contractors fund our elections. Why are we allowing the people who build the bombs that have been killing the children of Gaza to be donating to campaigns?
Thank you for that, Commissioner. Congresswoman, would you like to rebut?
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity. First of all, let's check the facts. And I would invite and challenge any of you to check my record to see what I did vote for and what I have not voted for. Let me start with what I did vote for. I voted for the Block the Bombs Act, one of the first 31 original co-sponsors of that act. I voted for one bill that would send any funding to Israel. And that bill, as I have said repeatedly, and again, I challenge any of you to check my record, and you will find that that humanitarian aid bill provided humanitarian aid for Gaza, Sudan, Taiwan, Ukraine. Let's be clear. Now, I've been really, really nice without saying anything about the lies that continue to be perpetrated on me. But again, my record speaks for itself. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking to the record. Now, feel free to answer the question. Did you need me to repeat?
Yeah, because I forgot it. Thanks.
No problem.
Yeah.
So what standards should the U.S. use to determine when military actions by allies cross unacceptable humanitarian or legal lines? And has that line been crossed in regards to Gaza?
Absolutely, the line was crossed. And we know what this administration is about. Congress should be able to determine or is responsible for determining when this country goes to war because only Congress can legally fund these wars. And what this president has done is to act as though he has all the power. And that's because members of Congress have bent a knee to him. I think that people who have supported Israel in the past supported Israel because it was our ally in the East. I don't fund or appreciate anybody being murdered senselessly. not in this country or any other. And I have not voted for funding for that to continue. I did not go to Israel for a photo op. I went to Israel because I had the opportunity to say to Netanyahu something none of you got the opportunity to do. And that is, I do not agree with how you are running this war. I do not believe that this is what the American people want. And I do not believe that the people of Israel want to see what is happening in Gaza, because I spoke with many of them and I watched the people of Israel protest what the prime minister was doing. That's my experience. That's my truth. And only I can speak it.
Thank you, Congresswoman. And I believe I got a message that Ms. Patterson has joined us.
Yes, Ms. Patterson, if you could go, or if you could bring your camera on, we can give you the spotlight.
Hello, and good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Were you able to hear question 3? Did you need me to repeat it, or
I
are
didn't
you
hear
ready to
the
respond?
question, but I did most certainly listen to Ms. Congressman Fauci, and I appreciate her standing her truth, because that's what it takes. Very good. I'm impressed. But yes, if you don't mind, please repeat the question.
Certainly. Now, what standards should the U.S. use to determine when military actions by allies those actions cross unacceptable humanitarian or legal lines? And has that line been crossed in regards to Gaza?
I think so. I think every line that we've seen since this, I guess, since this president has been in term, we have seen all types of lines crossed when it comes down to different people of nationalities and different countries. And I'm not sure where this president's going at this point in time. I just don't, I just think it's probably on a brink or a small cusp of causing people to be upset with Americans to go to war, and that's not necessary. So, and I'm just here again, I'm like Miss Fauci, I'm just speaking my truth. Why would you go to other countries and disrupt their culture and their livelihood for the sake of just getting money and oil and things of that nature?
Thank you so much for answering that question for us there.
You're welcome.
And it looks like, based on the time, we're going to move to closing statements. And so for closing statements, if we could, let's start with you first, Ms. Congresswoman Fushi. You're on mute, Ms. Congresswoman.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, thank you so much for this opportunity. I just want the voters to know that I have been fighting for our rights my entire life. I grew up here in this district. I attended segregated elementary schools in this district. I worked on the school board. I worked on the county commission. I have worked for the people of this district for more than 2 decades. I do it because I love the people of this district. To serve has been the honor of my life. I thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to continue serving you in the U.S. House of Representatives. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Commissioner.
Thank you so much to the Durham Young Dems and the Dem Women, as well as the Durham Democrats, again, for hosting this forum. Yes, I have been proud to be able to serve as a county commissioner for the past 5 years, and before that, serving statewide as the vice chair of the North Carolina Democratic Party, and have been an organizer even before that. And I never intended to enter into politics. This is not a path that I had chosen for myself or one that my family ever thought was possible. I studied sustainable materials and technology at NC State. I plan to serve my community through tech in that space. However, as many of you know, I lost my best friend Yusra Abu Salha and her husband Dia Barakat and her younger sister Razan Abu Salha when the Chapel Hill shooting, when they were murdered by their neighbor because they were Muslim. And I knew I couldn't stand idly by and allow our communities to continue to be unseen and to be minimized and dehumanized into a parking dispute. And that is why I have organized since then, even before then, but since then, I have dedicated my life to be organizing and bringing voices of marginalized communities to the table. Because, and right now, with Trump back in office, that moment and that urgency is needed even more. Because as we see him targeting our immigrant communities, my community, my family immigrated here when I was 4 years old. I've lived in nearly every part of this district, been impacted by it. We were home renters in Cary when we first immigrated. I went to elementary school in Apex, bought my first home in Durham County. My husband graduated from Chapel Hill. Like all of these parts of the district have shaped who I am as a person today. And I will also bring the voices of the people who have raised me in this village to DC with me. And this moment requires urgency because our future generations may not have a livable planet. My children, who are 3 and 1.5 years old, need a Green New Deal now. My daughter, who is 3, I want her to be able to have autonomy over her own body. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Patterson, closing statements, please. You're on mute, Ms. Patterson.
Thank you so very much. I'm new to politics. I just know that the state in this area is very political. And Ms. Alam, you do have my deepest prayers and condolences due to the loss of your loved ones. I grew up in this area when Durham was a small city, small town. And we have seen exponential growth in this area with everyone moving here. At this point in time, I guess all of the native Durhamites, if you will, have gotten kind of pushed aside and buried under the shuffle of people moving here. So we have seen the city grow for the good and not for the good. And now we're also advocating for let me just share, I went to school here at Jordan High School, and I attended North Carolina Central University. And I also taught school here in the Durham public school systems as a certified educator. And now I'm doing a substitute teaching as much as I possibly can. Long story short, we are seeing global warming like none other. We also know that here in the area, I guess with this exponential growth, that people aren't recycling, reducing with the garbage, the trash, you name it. It's like a runaway snowball going down a hill, if you will. People aren't getting the teachers and educators aren't getting paid fair wages whenever there's a budget cut. Here in the state of North Carolina, they're the first people not to get paid. But parents are entrusting their most valuable asset for 8 to 10 hours a day, and that's their children. So, and you're entrusting your child to people that the state is not willing to pay. And everyone knows that everyone else working gets paid more than a school teacher. It's not fair to them. They have houses, they have children that they want to maintain and keep. So, with that being said, and I know my time is up, I'm advocating for people out here for fair wages, equal employment opportunities, and just equality across the board.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Patterson. And we appreciate all the candidates for our congressional seat here that were able to come and share their remarks today. And I believe we're going to get things closed up with our forum tonight. I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to invite all the attendees to join us for our in-person forum here on Tuesday at the Lyon Park Community Center at 5:30. We really appreciate everyone coming out. Please be safe wherever you are. Stay warm. And until next time, thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Y'all, I think I'm gonna end the meeting.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, all. Have a good night.